Alright, once you've downloaded and installed all the software, the Oracle Box virtual machine, which we're going to install Elastics running the Linux Cent OS, and here's Xlite soft phone. Once you've installed those three and signed up for your Flowroot trial account, you can begin the tutorial, and we'll open VirtualBox. Okay, once all software is installed, you're going to open Oracle VirtualBox. You're going to start a new virtual machine, name it whatever you want, but preferably Elastics, because that's what we're going to be putting on it, is an Elastics server. And we're going to use Linux 2.6/3.x. If you have a 64-bit machine, I recommend just using the 32-bit version, because I ran into complications when I did this previously with 64-bit, so try this way. And then create a virtual hard drive now. Dynamically allocated is fine. Only going to give it about 4 gigabytes. And settings, go to System, enable I/O, APIC, processor, enable PAE. Going to start the machine, and you will choose a virtual optical disk file, and you'll pick the Elastics ISO that you downloaded earlier, and then you'll start. You'll hit enter. Okay, once installation has loaded, you're going to select your language type, English, what kind of keyboard you have. And it's going to say the partition table on the device was unreadable. To create new partitions, it must be initialized, causing the loss of all data on the drive. Yes, if this is fine, it's not going to mess up your hard drive. Hit enter. And then use free space on selected drives and create default layout. That's what you want to choose. You're going to hit tab here if you're not using a mouse to cycle through the options. Use free space on selected drives and create default layout. Hit tab, and then hit tab and select OK, which is enter. Review and modify partitioning layout. No, we don't need that. Would you like to configure the Ethernet network interface in your system? Sure, go ahead and do that. Enable all the IP version 4 and 6 support. Hit OK. Dynamic IP configuration, that's fine unless you want to manually put in an IP address. Automatic neighbor discovery, yes. And hit OK. Time zone really doesn't matter unless yours is actually on here, but mine's not, so I'm just going to pick whatever. Doesn't affect anything, so hit OK. And pick a root password for the root login. It says it may take several minutes. It really does not take that long. You know, if you have a really slow computer, maybe take a few minutes. As you can see, it's saying about 12 minutes remaining. Actually, about probably 8 minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. Machine will automatically restart once installation's done. Now you'll create a root password for MySQL, which you're probably not going to use. Confirm the password. And a password for the PBX administrator. You can use the same password for everything. No one's really going to get in here and hack this. Okay, now you will log in once the virtual machine is completely booted up, which I believe will be root, and then whatever password you created for the root password, which was during the installation process. And you'll hit enter, and then welcome to Elastics. And you will need to find out the IP address for this local machine, or the private IP address for this machine. And let's see. If your IP address does not show up, you need to go to Network Settings under Devices and Bridged Adapter, and it should show your network card. Log in as root, and the password is whatever you created during the setup. ifconfig will be the command to use to figure out your private IP address. And there is your Okay, once you have the private IP address, you can open your browser and navigate to 192.168.254.7, or whichever your private IP address is. says certificate's not trusted because it's HTTPS and we haven't set that up, but there's really no need to, so proceed. And now that you are at the Elastic's login screen, you'll type admin, and then whatever password you set up during the installation. And everything should be set up and running. A nice little dashboard here. Okay, go through these instructions really fast. Oh, before I do that, I gotta go sign up for Flowroot again. Okay, now that we are at the Elastic's dashboard here, we're going to configure X-Lite to work with Elastic's. X-Lite is the soft phone. So we're going to click PBX. We're going to select generic SIP device, submit, user extension. This really doesn't matter, it's just how you're going to ID the extension, which is basically what you're going to call the account in the PBX. So I'm going to call it 2. Display name will be spoof. Caller ID number alias really does not matter, because this is not where you actually change the caller ID. You're just going to give it a display name and one moment. Okay, yeah. So now we're going to configure the extension. You're going to pick a display name, whatever you want the caller ID to say. And the rest of the configurations are optional, and we do not cover them in this tutorial. However, I'm going to pick a secret, which is your password, and for this I'm going to okay, so you'll pick a password. Okay. You're going to configure the extension. So I just call it 2, and whatever you want the display name to be, and you will have to create a password, which is right here on secret. That's the password for the extension, and everything else is optional, not covered. And every time you make a change, you'll see this bar right here say apply configuration changes here. You're going to click on that. It's a very important step, don't forget that part. Okay, so next you will start X-Lite after you've installed it. You'll go to account settings underneath the soft phone tab, and you can call it whatever you want as far as the name of the account. You're going to deselect I am presence. And I have not messed with this enough because the caller ID I'm using actually doesn't display the name, and this may or may not be your display name, so remember that. Alright, and the user ID should be the extension you just created, which was 2 in my case. And if you forgot what it is, you can go back and there it is. The extension is in the brackets there. The domain will be local. The password will be whatever you created. And the authorization name should be the extension, which is 2 in our case. And register with domain and receive calls, and select proxy, and the address of the Elastic's dashboard, which would be your private IP address that you use to access. It's found right there. That will be your proxy. Everything else, leave it alone. Hit OK. Okay, the phone is ready. Now, you can't make calls quite yet, so hold on. And now, once you've registered at Flowroot, you'll be greeted with this page. And this page shows the amount of credit you get, and it's like half a cent a minute. You can create multiple free accounts, but we're going to go to interconnection, and we're going to click System Configurator. And we're going to select Trybox/free PBX. And then they will give you a setup instruction on how to add a new trunk. Okay, now that you've selected Trybox/free PBX, we'll go to Elastics, and we'll select Trunks right here. And we'll click Add SIP Trunk. And the trunk name can be basically anything, but this is what might display as your caller ID name. I'm not sure about the name part because, like I said, my caller ID does not have that information on it. It just has the number. But this would be the number you want displayed. And we'll go back to the Flowroot, and it tells you, see, add SIP trunk, and then it shows you how to configure the peer details. And what you'll do is it gives you a setup file right here. You'll highlight and copy this. It'll go here, and you'll replace everything in that box with what you just copied. And then you'll go back to Flowroot. It gives you the register string at the bottom. We will paste that. trunk 22, or well, oh, it's flow route. And then you will empty all the text in this section, submit changes, and oh, I already have this for a trunk name, so maybe that's a problem there. Oh, duh. Make sure you don't need that specific. Okay, so let's review. You'll create a trunk name, which I used flow route, and you'll go down, and on the flow route page it'll give you the configuration settings. You'll copy these, you'll paste them to this box, overwriting everything that was there originally. You'll come down here, you'll erase everything in the user details box, and at the bottom here on the flow route page you'll see a string. You will copy that string into the register string box at the bottom of the elastics page. You'll submit changes, okay, and remember, every time you make a change, this little red bar comes up and you have to apply changes here, and then it goes away. Alright, now after this you'll need to set up how outbound call routes are handled. So click on outbound routes right here, and you'll click 9 outside. And you're going to edit this. You can rename it to whatever you want. And this is actually where you will change the caller ID number. So route caller ID, that'll be what you want. So let's see what we'll put here. 777-555-12234. If you put a 1 in first, depending on the dialing pattern you put in, it will omit the 1. So just remember that. Okay, then select how you want your dialing patterns to be. This will vary on whatever part of the world you're from, and this used to be a lot more difficult on this part, which really wasn't that bad, but they created a dialing patterns wizard. So I'm going to add local 7-digit, local 7 and 10-digit, long distance, I mean, whatever kind of a number you want to dial is what you're going to add. So you kind of get the picture there. If you're in the United States, you really only need local 7, local 10, and long distance. Then make sure on trunk sequence for matched routes, select the extension we already set up, which was flow route 2, and we will submit changes and apply changes for the test. expect a delay. See the outbound route caller ID.
You have reached the voicemail box.
Okay, and to now change the caller ID, you'll go here, back to the Elastics control panel. You'll go to outbound routes. You'll select the route over here on the right side of the screen, and you'll enter a number that you want to put. So let's see. And you will submit the changes. You have to apply the changes. And now you can dial again. Expect a small delay.
You have reached the voice.
And that is your video on how to spoof caller IDs. Good comments are welcome, but if you want to be smartass, then please don't comment. Thank you, bye.